In terms of derivations or derivatives, the quotient rule is a little bit more complicated than the product rule and the sum and difference rules. So I'm going to take some time to explain this, work through 2 examples, and if you have any more questions or want other problems worked out, make sure you leave a comment down below and I'll get to it as soon as I can. So the quotient rule is f over g equals f prime times g minus g prime times f over g squared. Now, if you don't know or never heard the terminology prime, that just means the derivation of the first derivative of that specific value. So an f would be the numerator and g would be the denominator. So if we look at these two, it seems simple enough. Well, it can get complicated. And there is some tips and some shortcuts when there's certain setups. So I will be talking through one of the shortcuts today. So let's work through the first one. F of x equals 4 over x to the 6th power. Now, if you want to go through this top half, ultimately you get f prime, so you'll get 0 times x to the 6th minus 6x to the 5th, because we're taking the derivative of the the denominator, and then you want to also multiply that by that 4 value, all over g squared. So you'll have x6 to the squared. So then this, you basically working through all of this, you'll get a value of, let's see, that's minus 24, minus 24x to the 5th. And then when you raise a power by power, they multiply, so you'll get x to the 12th. And then you'll get an answer that comes out to, because then this would simplify with the x's, minus 24 over x to the 7th, because if you divide 2 powers, it's just like subtraction. Now, this is the correct answer. Sorry for the little handwriting. Negative 24 to the x to the 7th, but there is a trick for this one. So if you want to do the trick here, you can basically write it here as 4x to the negative 6th, because it is in the denominator, and you can just do it this way. And 2 steps. Minus 6, you bring it over to the minus 4, so you get minus 24x to the negative 7th, which is the same thing as this answer, basically. Now, for the next one, there isn't a shortcut like that because, or there is a way you can do it like that if you just want to put everything to the negative 1 power, but this is easier to use the full quotient rule for something like this. So for this one, let's work through this full example. So, like the quotient rule states, you take the derivation of the numerator first. So you get 3 ultimately from this, and then you'll take the normal value, and then you subtract it by the derivation of the denominator, which in this case will just be negative 1, because that's the constant value cancels out there, and then you'll do 3x plus 9. And then you'll do g squared, so you do 2 minus x squared. And then you just simplify from here. So now you'll get 6 minus 3x. And then remember the subtraction sign here. So what I like to do is kind of block that out for a second and just do the right side of the equation. So minus 1, so you would get minus a negative 3x minus 9 all over 2 minus x squared. Make sure you keep that parentheses there. I almost made a mistake there. And then you just, again, simplify it out. So then this becomes basically a positive, because the negative values are then multiplied out. So these all become positive, and this cancel. Did not mean to fully erase that, even though it is going to be canceled out here. But this is going to cancel out with this. So then you leave 6 plus 9, which 15 all over 2 minus x squared. Now, if you want to mess around with it and simplify this further, or try to mess around with it, you can do this, and you'll get like 4 minus 2x minus 2x again, plus x squared, and then you'll get like xx minus 4x plus 4, which ultimately then simplifies in this. So there's no point in simplifying it even further. This is the most simplistic way, but if your teacher or anybody wants you to write it fully out like that, then you can go ahead and do this, but this is the correct answer. And like I said, if you have any more questions regarding the quotient rule, make sure you leave your comments down below, and I can work through it. If you have any more Calculus 1 or derivation questions, let me know. I'm going to continuously work through different subjects when it comes to calculus, or even higher up level math as I progress through my lessons. So if you have any more questions, please let me know. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe,